The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Trader's Edge with Steve Rhodes. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. The Trader's Edge. Now, Steve Rhodes.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to the November 3rd, otherwise known as the terrific Thursday edition of today's Trader's Edge Show. I'm your host, Stevie Perseverance Rhodes, who absolutely knows that each of us should always be pioneers of our future versus prisoners of our past. Hope everyone out there is having a great day. Hey, let's make sure we have an extraordinary one. And the easiest way to do that is to always remember that life is happening for us, not to us. That's right. When you and I make that one little 2x4 shift, well, it means we can find the gift in every set of circumstance that life is going to toss at us. Now, today, you and I, we're going to check on the circumstance of these markets. We'll go figure out what those bulls and bears, what those buyers and sellers are communicating to you and I at just past 11 o'clock in the morning. I do want you to know I'm absolutely grateful for your presence here, but more important than that, and that's this. During this next 53 minutes, I'm here to serve you. So feel free to give us a call. Would love to hear from you. The number is 877-927-6648. But if you can't call in and you still have a question, well, we've got you covered there too. You can always let those fingers do the walking. That means go ahead and send me an email. Send that to steve@tfnn.com. And inside the subject heading, if you would be kind enough to put radio show question. Of course, if you're inside our Tiger's Den, well, any and every ping will do. So let's go ahead and get this show started on terrific Thursday. Of course, this is Tiger Financial News Network. I'm Steve Rhodes. Welcome to the show. Right now, we got most of the U.S. indices trading to the downside. The only one that is not is the Dow Transports. The Dow is off 120 points. That's about 0.4% to the downside. The S&P is off 24 points, or 0.6, and the Russell is basically flat. It's off 3 points. The NASDAQ 100 is not flat. It's down 0.9%. That is 101 points to the downside. You've got the spot volatility that is still below its 50-day exponential moving average. It's actually trading lower. Yeah, it's down 14 ticks right now, trading out at 25.72. Something to think about. Goldilocks off $19. Silver's down 19 cents. Light sweet crude is off $1.33. Natural gas off 11 pennies, and the 30-year Treasury trading out at 120.06. That's down 17 ticks. Now lead the charge to the upside. Dollar-wise, it's Etsy up $13 or 14%. Crown Holdings $6, 9%. Nerd Wallet 33%, $3. ConocoPhillips 4.6%, up nearly $6. Ball Corp down is up $5. That's a little over 10% to the upside. To the downside, it is Advanced Drainage Systems. They are draining that puppy. It's off 22%. That's off 25%. Qualis is down $20 or 15%. Zoetis, don't know where that name come from, but it's off 13% or 18 buckaroonies. Palomar Holdings off $17, 20%. There are some big movers, but there's some bigger shakers to the downside. So I want to look at what you want to look at. I don't know what that is. Only have one request, and that's for Chipotle from David. David will do that during the second breakout. Let's just go take a look at what's going on inside the general markets. Let's take a look at market conditions. Let's look at the market conditions from a 30-minute standpoint for the ES and the S&P 500. And this is for the S&P right now. And you can see we have slightly tone is bearish. There are 166 instruments trading above the top of a profile. Whoa, slightly bullish. So even though the red line hasn't crossed there, if I take a look at the statistics are the deal here. It's actually bullish. 166 instruments above the top of the profile, 148 below the bottom. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ 100. We'll switch back and circle back around, make sure that the stats on the ES Mini are still correct. 35 below the bottom on a 30-minute profile for the NQ, and 23 above profile for the NQ. So this has a slightly bearish tone to it. And the S&P 500, just to double check out here, just to make sure that it wasn't just a refresh error. Nope, 166 above, 148 below. So we've got conflicting messages there, at least with regard to market breadth. Odds favor we're not going to see positive market breadth when we take a look at the other 4 time frames, but let's do it anyways. Here is the S&P 500, and it is only time frame that it's bullish for is the weekly time frame. If we look at the NDX 100, no 4 time frames, folks, 60, 240, 4-hour, daily, and the weekly. In the case of the NDX 100, that's where we'll focus our time, is all the signals here are bearish, meaning that there are more instruments trading below profiles for their weekly, for their daily, for their 240, and their 60-minute time frame versus instruments trading above the top of their profiles. So the NQ is the place where we should start because it's got its work to do. So let's go ahead and switch. Well, first with regard to the NQ, let's look at this chart. Our 4 equity future contracts. So here what I want you to see, it's very clear with regard to where we have resistance. That's at the top of its profile. Where we have support, and you also got a descending trend line. Where we have support, that's really clear. Support has been around ever since this weekly profile has formed, and that's at the bottom. That's all we're looking at right now is the bottom of that weekly profile, and that's at 10,734. So that's the real key number. If price closes below that, it doesn't mean curtains just yet, but it would be close to curtains. The real curtains would be the support level is from this key reversal bar, and that's from October 13th. And so the NQ's real key level of support is 11,484. But right now, prices come down, tested, rejected the bottom of that weekly profile. If you look at the ES Mini out here, and I know we'll go focus on the NQ, the ES Mini finding support at its bullish structured daily profile, the Russell 2000 at the bottom of its daily profile, and a rising trend line. And the Dow here, it's just consolidating with inside its daily profile out there. So right now, here we know we've got the ES Mini at support, the NQ at support, the Russell 2000 at support, each of which have held. Now let's go take a look at the intraday charts. If they're at support, we usually see bottom signals. We like to see them on all time frames, but sometimes that's asking a little bit too much. So we take a look at the intraday charts here for the NQ. What you'll see is that the 5-hour chart at 9 a.m. completed a TD 9-count bottom. Now, what that tells us is that at 2 p.m., if price is trading below that low, let me give that number here, that low is 10,802.25. That would be a bearish signal. However, what we also, did I change charts? Yeah. What we also know, though, is that 10,734 area is support. So that's really a level that price would need to close below to say, okay, we're at least going and testing that October low out there. The 240-minute time frame chart looks like this will form bar number 8 of a TD9 count. That will take place at 2 p.m. That says that this pattern could not form, or a TD9 count pattern could not form until today's market close. 2-hour time frame chart, we're in wave number 7. That is letter G. That should extend itself. It'll extend itself when I hit that button right there. No, it won't. I guess I have that set to on bar close. But this is still in potential bottoming signal. Now, the cool thing about the 2-hour time frame chart, I'll come back to that momentarily. So I don't have, other than potentially an A to B equals CD to the downside pattern, I don't have a bottom signal on a 10 or 15-minute basis. That would do it, though. And the same thing would be for the 30-minute time frame and really for the 60-minute. So it's going to be these upper panel charts here, the 5-hour, the 4-hour, and the 2-hour that we're really going to focus on. Now, when I take a look at the 2-hour chart, this is helpful for any rallies. When do we know if the rally is going to have any legs out there? Take a look at the NQ. Dudette in the Tiger's Den was long the ES, or maybe long the NQ. My apology, Dudette, I don't know what you're long, but you closed out that position, and I like that. Now, the reason I like that is take a look at the oscillator and change line here. Look how that has been key resistance ever since that decline yesterday. That's the level that price has got to close above. We'll be right back.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar, yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Welcome back, folks. So what I like to do when I take a look at these multi-time frame charts is look for signals, top and bottom signals out there. Try to understand what's going on with regard to price and the oscillator and change line out there. And so when I see something like this on the 120-minute time frame chart, it's got wave number 7 on the 5-hour chart, TD9 counts. What I like to do is then go see what the other equity future contracts are doing for those same time frames. So we were admiring Maria's exit from her long position. And that was because the key level of resistance was tested. That key level of resistance is the oscillator and change line. I think it's the NQ. You don't have to be trading the NQ, but it's the NQ that we should take our signals from, both to the upside and to the downside. Now, on a 120-minute time frame chart, it's only the NQ that is in wave number 7. That is letter G out there. Don't have any bottom signals, and I can't really draw an A to B equals CD pattern for the 2-hour time frames. But that's not the real power of the 2-hour time frame. What we can see here is we can see that the oscillator and change line, that little green, red, squiggly line for the 2-hour time frame charts, has been a key level of resistance. It is where price gets up and it deflects from that. Even yesterday's rally, initial rally, after the Fed released its statement, and then Powell decided, must have been that he was short the market, so he decided to go ahead and kind of crap on the rally out there. But still, it was the oscillator and change line that acted as a key resistance level, and that's the only thing, and that's the most important thing that we would use the 2-hour time frame chart for right now. So in the case of the NQ, and the number's going to change, if there was a close above that red oscillator and change line, currently printed at 10.888. There is no other support or resistance, so there's no profile support out here. There's no profile resistance. Well, there is profile resistance, but it's up quite a bit higher. The resistance levels right now are those red oscillator and change lines for their 2-hour time frame chart. So for those of you that have subscribed to the newsletter service, went ahead and went through the training video that is out there, may have programmed this on your own, out there, I would switch to your 2-hour time frame charts, and I would watch how price deals with those areas. A close above that should then lead to a further rally. Now, that further rally may take us up to where those profile levels are at, but there could be new profiles that form between now and then. But right now, a close above in the NQ, above that oscillator and change line, would generate a target of 11,180 to 11,236. And it would really be the 11,236. One of the things in common for these 2-hour time frames is each of them have bullish structured profiles. So any counter trend move, and that's what we would call any move higher in this market out here, typically where price will find resistance is at the center of that bullish structured profile once prices close below that level. Well, those profiles, each of those profiles formed when price was already below that. That alone is a bearish directional signal out there. But nonetheless, if price can overcome those 2-hour red oscillator and change line, that's going to provide you with a key piece of information. Now, it was the 5-hour time frame chart inside the NQ that showed that TD9 count bottom pattern. If we take a look at the other 5-hour time frame charts, you'll see that the ES Mini has that same pattern out here. And what needs to happen is price just needs to continue to close above in the ES Mini 37.27.25. As long as that is in place, then the TD9 count bottom for the 5-hour time frame chart will remain in effect out here. In the case of the NQ, we talked about that number. That number, again, that price needs to close above. That would be both at 2 p.m. as well as when the contract closes today. That would need a close above 10,802 and a quarter. And in the case of the Russell 2000, this is going to complete the TD9 count bottom pattern, and it's going to do that at 2 p.m. today. Right now, the current low of that pattern is the current bar that's in place, and that's at 1758.30. If price does not move lower, that's a key level that you jot on your pad of paper out there. As long as price holds that level, price should continue to rally. Now, the rally would be up to its oscillator and change line, but as you and I have already taken a look at that 2-hour oscillator and change line, that is going to be the significant level. And the reason why we're focused on this is because when you and I took a look at the daily time frames out there, we saw that price had support for the ESCNQ and the Russell 2000. The Dow is strong as can be. That is where clearly the global flow of capital is presenting itself, which is what we would expect. Is that global flow enough right now to set up a slingshot to the upside? Probably not. Probably not just yet. But the Dow, if you take a look at the Dow, that's just dealing with its profile, bullish structured profile on a 5-hour time frame. And there's no problem with the other indices crushing through that. Just tells you how strong the Dow is. So on long positions out there intraday, even though most people are trading the ES and the NQ out there, you might want to consider the Dow, because that's the strongest. But still take your P's and Q's, your signals from what goes on inside of the NQ. So that's the take on the equity markets out there. We've got a bunch of questions that have come in. So let's get to those. The first one coming in from David H. David writes in, this is David, I don't know if remember this is David from Tomball, Texas or not. I probably should have that to memorize, but it doesn't really matter. It is still David H. And David writes in, hey, Steve, it's your friendly pest, David. No, this is from Panama City, so that's a different David. Friendly pest. No. I love when you send me. Look, folks, you guys can send me emails all you want or requests inside the Tiger's Den. You are the ones that make this show flow smoothly. Without these requests, I'm kind of like, lost in the wilderness out there. Let's continue on with the question. I was on a plane yesterday when I composed the email just before takeoff, and I made a mistake. I have the 1,400 puts, not calls. Expires 11/18. Okay. With Chipotle being so far in the gap, is it at all possible that it could make a run to the 1,200 area in the next couple of weeks? So what Chipotle did, I'm going to switch over to my black background charts. We'll come back to these white background charts here. But really, to answer your question, I want to go back to the black background charts out here. So let's get those on the screen. The reason is because yesterday was a confirmation of a sell the D point pattern out here. I'm sorry. It was a confirmation of an A to B equals CD to the downside. So we use the word confirmation when the B point is crossed with volume. So the A point out here, David, was the high from September 12th. The B point is the low from October 11th. Now that October 11th had volume of 437,000 shares. The C point is up at 1025. So 411,000 was crushed yesterday, 529,000. So your 1-to-1, A to B equals CD, would take it down to 1278. You're asking, can it get in the 1200 area? And you're saying by the 18th of November out there. Certainly it has that possibility. There's nothing to suggest otherwise. Now, I don't know whether it's by that time frame or not, but you do have a confirmed A to B equals CD to downside in Chipotle with the 1-to-1 taking it 1278. I would say, based upon the movement so far of the C to D leg, that more likely than that, it would be 1193. Now, we look at the weekly and the monthly time frame charts. Let's look for signals out here. The weekly shows a bullish structured profile. Price is back inside it. You need to see price close back inside that profile come tomorrow. So at 4 p.m., you want to see a close below 1430.11. If you've got that, then you can see the A to B equals CD, which took us into the 1200 area. The bottom of that bullish structured weekly profile will be 1282.74. So your question was, will it get down to 1200? I would say 1282.74 would be the gift you're looking for. But right now, let's not forget, there is support, buying support, between the range of 1282 and 1331 out there. So now, we go take a look at the white background chart. Oh, wait a minute. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. I thought I clicked on it. I know I clicked on it. Here are the white background charts. My apology. Jeez Louise, Stevie. Here's your confirmed A to B equals CD to the downside. B point pass with volume. 1278, the first target. 1282, the bottom of that weekly bullish structured profile. Those are the areas to watch. David, I hope you'll write back to me tomorrow, whether it's about Chipotle or any other instrument. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Chart allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back, folks. So let's go to our next question that comes in. Next question is from Steve, I believe, or Star. It says, greetings, MGNX, that is Macrogenics Inc., is at breakout at 538 and resistance at 679 out there. Okay. Where are the sellers at is the question. Perfect. Well, the sellers, that's pretty easy to identify because we can see how they have flexed their muscles here. And that's at the top of the monthly profile. The top of the monthly profile is, and that's where price stopped last month. So in the month of September, the actual close of September was 512. The top of the profile, 514. Price right now at 486. That's where your resistance level. That's where the sellers are at. So if price on a monthly basis can close above 514, you're above the weekly profiles. You're above the daily profiles out there. Price did find resistance at 526. That was also a TD9 daily, TD9 count breakdown area out there. But price has just simply pulled back to test that green oscillator and change line. So its signal here is still bullish because you're above profile, you're above that green oscillator and change line. And we don't have a topping pattern in place out there. So you've identified it here. The sellers are sitting right there at that 514 level. That's what you need to see price take out in order for this thing to continue on its merry way to the upside. So I hope that information is what you were looking for. I believe that it was based upon the question. So let's go to our next question. This one coming in from Hector. Hector and Patty. Hector wants to take a look at ConocoPhillips. COP is the ticker symbol out there. And the question is COP and XLE. Happy Thursday. Yes, and I'm looking forward to a wedding at Thirst out there by going to see I've listened to his music just a bit, on like watercolors when I'm in the car, and sometimes listening to the satellite radio out there. A guy named Brian Culbertson. So I've never seen him. Don't know a lot about his music. It was just kind of, hey, it's a Thirsty Thursday, and we got to find a way to wet our whistle. So I'll go catch his show this evening. But your question is, ConocoPhillips, now I got my charts up here. ConocoPhillips says that a new A to B equals CD up with regard to projections. No, it's not. I can answer that question with regard to ConocoPhillips. It's just completing an existing A to B equals C pattern to the upside. Actually, just when I think it's running out of gas, your charts and the OEL resters, tell us XLE has another big leg move to the upside sooner than later. Okay. So with regard to ConocoPhillips, ConocoPhillips is negating its TD9 count topping pattern that formed out here, that completed really yesterday. The pattern was completed yesterday. The high was from October 31st. And if price closes above that high, which it looks like it will do, but it's not days end, and that high is at 129.99. We're at 133 right now. It negates that signal, says we continue to move higher. The A to B equals CD pattern I was referring to, Hector and Patty, real easy to see on the weekly time frame chart. We'll come back and take a look at that. The monthly chart here, as we mentioned, I think we mentioned last time we looked at that, its TD9 count pattern was negated in the month of October. So this is suggesting that, yes, this should continue to rally further. Now, let's go to those black background screens. And this time here, when I change screens, I really mean I'm going to change the screens out there. It means I'm going to have total follow through here. There we go. There we go. So in the case of ConocoPhillips out here, now we talked about this yesterday, or I think I talked about this yesterday. There are several different A to B equals CD patterns. I was just looking at the small one. So the small one looks like this. I'm just going to a prior swing point, and that's Hector and Patty. It would be December 20th. That would be the A point, the B point. This is the conservative version. The B point out here, the high from the week of June 6th, the retracement down into July 11th out there. The 1-to-1 takes us to 136.32. But Hector, we can go all the way back to the lows out here of March 16th. As a possible A point of an A to B equals CD to the upside. Here is the monthly time frame. The monthly time frame, the B point was passed with 152 million shares, past 200 million shares. So you don't have a confirmed monthly A to B equals CD, which would be up at the 180-154, but it doesn't mean that price won't do that. We're above last month's high. That's a bullish signal right now. Now, it's obviously the early part of November out here, but we're trading above last month's high. It doesn't get more bullish than that. So it looks like ConocoPhillips sector is going to negate its TD9 count top on the daily time frame. There was no weekly topping signal. All kinds of A to B equals CD patterns. And the monthly chart is saying, hey, I might want to get up to 180-154. So your last thing was, tell me this is going to move higher sooner than later. I think it's moving higher right now, and it's going to continue to do that. So I hope that helps you out. Thanks so much for the request. We've got a caller on the line, and it is John in Philly. John, thanks for waiting. Thanks for holding. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, Steve.
Excellent.
A little flat-footed yesterday, I confess.
Flat-footed, why?
That sell-off begun 2:30 p.m. when Mr. Powell took the stage.
Yeah. So I was listening to some commentary today because I wasn't really timing it, but apparently that took place. That move to the downside was some reporter, when they were doing the Q&A, was saying, "Hey, the market is up. The market likes what you're saying," and somebody said they kind of reworked that. They watched it. They said Jerome didn't like that, so he wanted to put a damper on it, and he certainly did. Don't you think?
Unequivocally.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I wanted to ask you about the S&P and its futures, the E-mini S&Ps. You described in detail, starting off your show, the configuration of the multi-time frame charts and what the very short-term signals might indicate. So I thank you for that.
Yes.
What I wanted to follow up and ask you, what your guess might be, which direction this heads, say, the next 1 to 5 days. And I'm thinking of asking you that because you gave a very nice presentation Monday on Tom O'Brien's show, where you shared chart work coming from Season X.
Yes.
And some of the seasonal cycle studies that you've looked into.
Yes.
I observe here on the E-mini S&Ps, the low today at 3704 was an exact Fib 786 support test. That's versus the low Friday, October 21st. We've come down hard. I can envision this just being midway through a larger decline that dives much lower. On the other hand, I can envision the scenario where we had this dump holding that Fib 786 support, and now we head higher in some fashion and towards election. I'm wondering if you've got any thought as to which of those scenarios is more likely, given that seasonal cycle study you did.
So that's a lot to thank you for that. And so the seasonal study, I think that maybe if it's okay with you, John, I'll answer that question. We're about to go to a break here. I'll put those charts back up on the screen because others may not have seen that. So why don't I put those up on the screen? I know your question, and then I'll go ahead and answer that. You're welcome to hang on or just listen to the dissertation, so to speak. And if you do that, if you choose that, if you have a question after I've gone through that, just type that in the den and I'll address it that way. So it's really your choice. But that's what I'll do when we come back from this break here, is I'll show those seasonal patterns out there so that others can be aware of them as well. And answer that question, what do I think might take place in the next between now and election time? Is that in essence the question?
Thanks so much, Steve. I'll listen offline.
Perfect, you bet. That's John in Philly. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. So we're trying to answer the question, what's the S&P 500 likely to do between now and Election Day out here? And to begin with, we take a look at the S&P 500 during the last 72 years and only look at midterm election years. And here, that's what this chart here represents. The red arrow was where, or the red vertical line was where we were at on Monday. What this chart here suggests to us, John, and everybody else, is that the market should rally into November 7th, November 8th. That's where that peak is, and then we see a bit of a fall off. So that's the seasonal pattern for the S&P during the last 72 years. However, this is the chart for the S&P that represents the years after a midterm election year. And here what we can see is that we should just expect a little bit more of the consolidation to continue out there. So that's what it is signaling, as opposed to just a complete pullback and then that move higher. Now, this does suggest that a move higher would begin towards the end of November. If we take a look at this chart here for the S&P 500, this chart here takes a look at what's going on during bear market years. And those are the market conditions that we are at. And this chart here shows that the market should top right around Election Day and then move lower. So between these three charts out here, everything is pretty much suggesting that we should head higher into Election Day, and then we should at least see a move lower. And if we take out support, then that'll answer our question, what is the market going to do after that? If we take a look at the Dow's bear market years, this too suggests that during a bear market year, which the Dow is not completely in just yet, but the rest of the market is. Here what we can see is this also suggests a move higher into Election Day, and then this, quite frankly, suggests a move lower through the rest of the year. Now, this would likely come to fruition. How will we know if this is going to be the pattern? Well, price is going to have to break through support. It's as simple as that. The NDX 100 during the last 37 years, out here, this points to a top right around election week, and then a further move lower out there. And so those were the seasonal charts that John was referring to. So what do I think we're likely to move higher into the end of the year? I would say until we break through support, that is the conclusion. That's the only conclusion that I can draw out here. Now, price has done a great job today of moving back and testing support. It may bust through support at day's end, but 11:44 in the morning, the NQ has held support that has been tested and rejected a few different times. That's 10.734. The ES is into the support area of its bullish structured profile between 36.67 and 37.43. Dow hasn't even made it down to support, which would be the bottom of its profile, 31.564. And the Russell 2000 just testing trend line resistance as well as the bottom of its profile. All of this suggests taking a look at these black background charts, that the market should rally through Election Day. Well, if that's going to happen, John, then the real simple thing is, if that is going to come to fruition, then what we will see is price trade above the 2-hour oscillator and change line. I'm going to put those charts up on our screen here. And as we take a look at those on a 2-hour basis, John, what we can see is that price has found resistance at that red-green oscillator and change line. So in the case of the ES Mini, if it is going to rally, the charts say that price needs to close above that line. That is currently printed at 37.59. We know that number is going to change up and down as price moves up and down, but use that as your guideline. The NQ, that level is 10.887. The Dow is 32.164. The Russell is at 17.92. All four of these, if they can all four close above those oscillator and change lines, then I believe the signal is, at least with regard to tomorrow and Monday and possibly Tuesday out there, is that price should continue to move higher. But not until price takes out these red oscillator and change lines here would we say that any kind of counter trend move into Friday and or Sunday would take place. So great, you got that piece of it, you got that. And so thanks for the question, a great question, and allowing me to go ahead and share that information with the viewers out there and answer that question. Let's go on to our next one. We've got quite a few requests that are in the queue out here. This one coming in from Matt, who rides the wave. He wants to take a look at the SMHs out there. Matt, I don't recall what you were looking for. I've got so many requests. I'm just going to go to the instruments and then just give you my take on what they're communicating to us. Right now, the SMHs have done nothing more than to pull back and test support. Boy, this adds to what we just talked about here. Because if the markets are going to move higher, and especially the NASDAQ, well, the SMH needs to participate here. Well, what's the SMH done? It's pulled back and has tested and rejected that red oscillator and change line. Now, if price closes below that line, currently printed around 181 and change, 181.60, then that's going to suggest a further move lower. Now, the SMH is the other thing you're looking for from the ETF is, does price close back above 184.19 today and do it on less than 10 million shares? Well, in the first 2 hours of trading, we've done 3 million shares. So it does look like it'll be less than 10 million shares. And if price closes above that high of that trading session, you'll have a rejection of a swing point on lighter volume. Now, what the SMHs really need to do in order to get some type of movement to the upside is get above that weekly oscillator and change line. And that level is 189 even. So if price closes above 189 tomorrow, that's telling us about a movement inside the SMHs, perhaps up to the 211.73 area. You wanted to take a look at the 30-year Treasury. For that, I'm really just going to go back to my market update chart. That's on our black background screen out here. And at this stage, the TLT, I'd recommend staying out of it. This is the bottom panel. I'm just going to expand it out here. Here is the 30-year Treasury, which that is being traded off of. This thing is struggling. Right now, it's below the bottom of its daily profile. It closed below its monthly TD9 count pattern last month. This is saying that the 30-year Treasury wants lower price. I think we have to believe Powell for what he said yesterday, which was he wants to continue to raise rates out there. So I hope that helps you out, Matt, with regard to the SMHs and the TLT out there. Dan inside the Tiger's Den, he wants to take a look at O'Reilly Automotive, and he's hoping for price to gap down tomorrow to create an island top pattern out there. That might be easier to see on these black background charts. So let's put the ORLY up on our screen out here, and let's take a look at it. So in order to get that, and that would be one heck of an island top. Looks like that would be at all-time highs, Dan. So here's the deal, though, and I know you'd like that, but take a look at this new profile that formed yesterday. That was below price. That's actually a bullish message. Price is pulling back into that gap, that at 946,000 shares. You're at 80,000 shares today, 86,000 shares. It's pulling back with light volume. You got a new profile for him yesterday. It's below price, and that's a bullish message out there. So let's go see on the white background charts if we can find anything out here that says, hey, well, maybe there's something else for us to consider. So what would that be? Well, take a look at this. Actually, you got no topping pattern on the daily time frame, Dan. You just have price pulling back to its green oscillator and change line. That's at the 807.34 area out here. So O'Reilly Automotive, even though it had even though you see a TD9 count pattern out there. The high came on bar number 7. That disqualifies it as a TD9 count top. The weekly chart, no topping signal. The monthly chart, no topping signal out here. So O'Reilly Automotive here looks like it wants to move higher. If price got below that green oscillator and changed on the daily time frame, maybe price does go ahead and pull back and close that gap. But 780, 799 is also another area of support. So Dan, it would create one heck of an island top. And if that happens tomorrow, please let me know, because that could be a pretty significant short. But I'm not seeing it in the chart patterns that we're taking a look at as we speak right now. In fact, Dan, on a 30-minute time frame here as we go into a break, we'll take a look at TSM when we get back here. You've got a nice TD9 count bottom that form. You probably have an A to B equals CD pattern that form. If price is able to close above 823.50, it's on its way up to 830, 835. That's O'Reilly Automotive for Dan inside the Tiger Den. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Welcome back up, folks. So Taiwan Semiconductor, TSM, are the charts that we're taking a look at. This for S&P inside the Tiger's Den out here. S&P pricing is testing the swing point back here from October 25th. That did volume of 21.7 million shares. Today, so far, we're back with 5 million, so it's pulling back with lighter volume. Looks like a test and rejection of that low. If you can't bust them to the downside, it'll try to bust them to the upside. Now, the upside bust them is really at the bottom of its daily profile at 63.58. So that's what you'd be looking for. But right now, it appears that Taiwan Semiconductor is going to test and reject its daily swing point with lighter volume. You've got a nice TD9 count bottom on the weekly time frame, and you've got a TD9 count bottom pattern on the monthly time frame. So you'd be looking for price to overcome 66.10 to suggest that there's something more to Taiwan Semiconductor. Let's take a look at Boeing here. This is for Nick. Inside, she's looking for support in the case of Boeing. So I can tell you that the Boeing right now is trading above the top of its daily profile. You can see that it's trading above its TD9 count breakdown area. It closed today above 150.14, negates a TD9 count top out there. That suggests higher price. The weekly is above the top of its weekly profile. You're above the oscillator and change on a monthly. Nick, price is going to go target 171.35. That's the bottom of its monthly profile. Support right now really be those oscillator and change line levels 141.44, 135.75, and 148.67. You also want to take a look at ticker symbol DKS. Let's see if I can actually type in the correct symbol here. That would be good. Let's get those charts on our screen, and that's how we'll end the show. DKS is DKS, Stevie, not X, DKS. Is consolidating with inside its daily profile. This is Dick's Sporting Goods. So your support level there, 107.83, resistance around 115.52. 115.56 is the top of the weekly profile. Support on the weekly profile be at 108.06, and below that, 102.56. You basically got a good old-fashioned consolidation of Dick's Sporting Goods between its daily profile, weekly profile, and monthly profile. Whew! We got through all of them. That was a beautiful thing. Folks, we'll be recording tomorrow's show at the normal time between 11 and 12. Stay tuned. We've got more great programming lined up for you. Have a terrific Thursday. I'll see you on Fantastic Friday. Take care and be safe out there.